Welcome to Raleigh Roots, a podcast about living, working, and raising a family in the Triangle. Join hosts Kate and Kathryn for lighthearted conversations, stories, and interviews about what it is really like to live here. Whether you're thinking about moving to the Triangle or have already planted roots here, tune in and listen on your favorite device. And now your hosts, Kate and Kathryn.
No.
Hello, Raleigh peeps, and welcome back to Raleigh Root.
We are getting ready for an ice storm.
We are. And if you're not from this area, that means the whole town will shut down. The grocery stores are out of bread, milk, wine, beer,
water, yeah.
But so our town is in somewhat of a frenzy. And when this airs on Monday and the snowstorm or ice storm will have come through, I'm hoping we don't lose power.
I know that is the biggest risk, is losing power.
Yeah.
So we're going to cross our fingers and hope for the best.
Yep. And if you're listening to this on Monday and you're at home and your kids are driving you crazy, just go upstairs, listen to this podcast, take a bottle of wine, and jump in. We've got an awesome show today.
Yes. We have a wonderful guest who is so knowledgeable, and she is definitely a fantastic resource for anybody here in Raleigh.
She's a licensed dietitian. She focuses on perimenopause. She talks about supplement. I mean, great knowledge that I don't stop to think about.
No.
You're good about it, though.
Yes. It's a hobby of mine. But, so yes.
Anyway,
It's a
so
hobby.
join us for Kathryn and Andrew, and we hope you are staying warm.
Enjoy.
Okay, y'all. Our guest is here. We're so excited. And y'all are going to want to listen to this. I say that every episode, but this one's really good because we all need to be healthier. So Kathryn Andrew is here. She is a nutritionist, licensed dietitian, and she helps all us crazy women try to keep ourselves in the rails and healthy, as I'm drinking a Diet Coke right beside the nutritionist. We are glad to have you.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
And if she had a client that she would need to completely start over and remap, I will be it. I'm like your worst nightmare.
Sometimes you are the most fun, though.
Yeah.
It is not a bad thing. You might be doing less wrong than you think you are.
No, you're pretty healthy, Kate, aren't you?
Yes. Yeah. In fact, this is almost a hobby of mine. Last night I went down a total rabbit hole studying my genes and how I methylate.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we could get into that.
For like
Maybe we'll
5
save that
hours.
for-
We'll save that for later. Like I literally was 5 hours trying to figure
those
out.
reports are like 200 pages long.
I know. Well, and the detox methylation panel that showed up. So, because I've worked with a functional medicine doctor for the last 4 years after I had COVID. Terrible. I think my Epstein-Barr reactivated.
Yeah.
And I already have Hashimoto's, so there's some stuff happening.
See,
I got some
you
stuff.
have competing struggles.
Yep.
I'm
yep,
like,
yep.
what are those words? What do
Yep.
they mean? And
So-
I don't know how to spell them or say them.
We've done all of these tests with the functional medicine doctor, all the different things, and we're still not finding like the
Solutions.
root
Right.
cause. I feel better. Things are better,
Right.
but I'm still suffering.
There's something.
So I was like, I'm going to look at my methylation panel. Started looking at that and was like, huh. So I'm about to send her a huge deep dive to be like, can you help me with this? Because
Because I'm like, there's so much there that you're just going to send your nervous system spinning.
well, I didn't sleep last night.
But
That's why.
yeah.
Because it was just like ding, 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 ding.
Yeah. Well, and the challenge with methylation and genes, maybe we digress, but
Yeah.
there's not a whole lot of like, so what? What do you do if you find out you have a, error on your MTHFR gene? There's some, right? We know some of
Yes.
that, but
Y'all are
Yes.
speaking overhead. This is so Chinese to me.
I know. But
Whoa.
that gene's a big one. I mean, that is a big gene, but we could definitely save that for another
yes,
podcast.
We'll get in the weeds another.
Yeah.
Okay, y'all. For the first time, I might be silent, and that never happens. Here's the greatest part about Kathryn. So I've known her for a while. She's got children. She has done nutritional, like for kids, adults. You've done the whole gamut, right?
Yeah.
I think I actually called you one time to help me with my child, and then I didn't follow through. I'm like, I am such a great mom. But there is a focus on the whole perimenopausal and the middle-aged women. We've all seen it. We are going through these changes, and we're like, we could eat this, and now we can't. And if we would drink this, now we can't. We can't sleep. And so you're really focusing on this. And I've had so many friends and say, oh my gosh, we went to Kathryn and we did a poop test.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Which we'll get into the poop test.
Very important.
Yeah. We're talking about GI mapping. And so we thought it would be really cool for Kathryn to explain some of the, ups and downs that we go through as middle-aged women. Tell us kind of how you got started.
About your practice.
Yes.
Started in public health. I worked for the Interfaith Food Shuttle for quite a few years.
Okay.
I loved it. Nonprofits are exhausting though. So once I had kids, realized I couldn't stay there. But I was doing food access and community gardens and farms. So I set up their gardens and farms.
Oh,
for
you
kids
did?
I didn't know
downtown
that.
Raleigh.
That's
Yeah. So
awesome.
it was super fun. And it was a totally different population than the population I'm working with now, which is
Right.
you women. And so went into private practice. Didn't think I would love it. But I've thrived in private practice. It's been so fun. So about 20 years now, 15-ish, doing one-on-one work with women and then some dabbling with some more group work and different communities. But what I love is helping break through the noise. There's so much fluff out there and there's so much noise, and especially now, and especially as it relates to perimenopause, like I kind of, regret in some ways even latching onto that concept because it's so overdone and it's everywhere. But all that to say, you pick the topic, that's usually the case. So I love just kind of bringing it down to earth and helping women figure out, like, for you, like, what are the game changers? What are the things, and we might not find one root cause, but what are the things we really need to focus on? And same for you. Like, and obviously those are really different.
Yeah.
Very different.
You're like, hey,
starting
lady,
points.
lay off the pizza.
Yeah. Well, and so much of it is psychology. I'm not a therapist, but I do always like to just I weave in a lot of nervous system and brain stuff, and
Yes.
because it all matters
does.
how we're constantly moving and constantly busy. So all that to say, as I myself started realizing I was going through perimenopause, I realized there was a huge lack 5 years ago in information and support for women of this age. And it was a little bit of an unknown. Now it's completely blown up in a much different way.
Yeah, and
But
there's so
that's
much
what's happening there.
information out there, and you don't know what's true, what's not
Yeah.
true.
What is perimenopause, right? To
Yeah.
answer that question, actually, I go a step back and I would say, like, think back to sex ed in high school.
Uh-huh.
And like, how many of you and audience learned how to put a condom on a banana?
Yeah.
Pretty
Mhm.
sure
Yep.
most of us
Yes.
And I
in this
joked my way through
generation
the whole time. I might
can,
have gotten kicked out
remember
of
that,
class.
and
Yeah.
maybe a video about a woman giving childbirth that no one wanted
Yeah.
to
Oh,
watch because
God.
it was so
Yeah, it was
Yes.
terrible. Yeah.
Now, how many of you had babies before you realized what the different parts of your cycle were? Don't still know this
I know,
information. I don't mean
You know what?
I know.
Yes, you should, because I don't
right?
know.
We
Yeah.
have no understanding of our
Yeah.
bodies as women in this culture. There's very little given to us or taught to us. So I teach women that are moms, but I'm also like, please pass this along. Leave this out on the counter.
Yeah.
Share
Yeah.
it with your teenage girls, because they don't, obviously I have those. That's hard to talk to as well.
Sure.
But all that to say, if we go back to a menstruating female, right? We
Yeah.
have estrogen, we have progesterone, we have testosterone. Those are kind of the three sex hormones that we think of as females. We produce estrogen in the first half of our cycle, estrogens, and then progesterone in the back half. And there's an ovulation that happens in the middle. So this is something that I teach all of my clients, because so many women don't even know that, right? As a starting
Wait,
point.
still?
Yeah, still.
Y'all don't be making fun of me.
Oh, I'm
that.
not. I'm not. But I mean,
But
you
it's
have to know when you ovulate so you don't get pregnant, or you do get
Well,
pregnant.
That's a
but
whole-
men just don't understand these things. And you enter this phase of perimenopause, and you're like, wait, I didn't even realize that it was a thing in the first place, and now it's changing. So what happens in perimenopause? It's a transition.
Yeah.
The first thing I say is it's like reverse puberty, right? And so
I agree with
our
you.
hormones are starting to change. We
Yeah.
are making less progesterone because we're ovulating less frequently. And the big gist, without getting in the weeds of all the hormones, is that they're changing, they're adapting, and we're continuing to produce less and less sex hormones. We're producing less of our adrenal hormones like cortisol, to some extent, DHEA. Those are declining as well.
Yeah.
So our hormones are generally declining. Some of them decline faster than others. But we also think about it like a strictly hormone thing, right? When
Yeah.
you say perimenopause, we all just think of hormones, right?
Right.
They're doing things, and then all of a sudden I feel weird. So I secondly like to think of it not just as a transition, but an ecosystem, right? So
Mhm.
it's throwing the whole ecosystem off, in the same way that when our kids went through puberty,
It's like a roller coaster all
Right?
day long.
You never know what you're going to get. In the same way that we feel now.
Yeah.
I think one of the things I love to teach women is how much the different impacts on your body that as those hormones are changing plus age, and we don't always know which is which causing it, but we make less brain chemicals. You're making less serotonin. You're making less GABA, which helps you stay calm. You're making less dopamine, which is your drive. So now when you like don't want to go work out anymore and you used to be great at like getting yourself out the door, you're like, I'm just a failure, but you're actually not getting the support from your brain that you used to. So it starts to help validate so many of these things that we're
I
experiencing.
love this. I'm going to even have more
You
excuses
may,
in my
you know
back
what?
pocket.
Today might be a low dopamine day for
This is
you.
right.
I mean,
this could be a low
I
dopamine
am over
day.
here like, I'm going to put this shit in my back pocket so I can be like, I'm not
Be like,
motivated because my brain
sorry,
is not producing the
I
right.
don't have any serotonin today, so I'm going to be
Do not call me. My serotonin levels are low, people.
Is this though
Oh.
why exercise is so important? Because you can naturally
part.
build up part of this in your brain through exercise.
I mean, I would say habits for sure become harder for that reason. I think one of the biggest things with exercise and movement, which we can get into, but is we're naturally losing muscle with age. And that's going to happen for men and women. So it happens faster for women. And we think this is where, no surprise, there's not a lot of great research on women out there, but we think it's in part due to this loss of estrogen. There's estrogen receptors in our brain and in our muscles. And so and estrogen helps stimulate building muscle. So as we become lower and lower in hormones, we're losing muscle, we're losing bone, we're losing collagen. We lose collagen the fastest. Right?
Yeah.
So
Wrinkles
it
and dry
is-
skin.
It's
And
changing, and
and
that's
hollow.
why it takes intention to then have to rebuild that when it's coming down at a faster rate.
do you use the Dutch test?
So I use the Dutch test and I use the GI map mostly. Those are
Okay.
my two favorite things to look at.
Okay.
And I think then, so my third point about, transition ecosystem, my third thing is it looks different for everyone, right? Like what we experience,
Yes.
what our challenges are, whether I have some women that have never experienced a hot flash, but have crippling anxiety. And then other people that can't sleep through the night because of their temperature, right? So very different symptoms from person to person. And that's where testing can come into hand, right? So it really does help figure out.
Isn't there just
in
one
part.
magic pill we can take
No.
and wipe all this?
I
wish
wish.
it were. I wish it were, but I do and I don't, right? I mean, it's the same, again, if you relate it back to like our kids, y'all, there's so many analogies, but like, how many of you have like a tutor or a coach?
Yeah.
Or you pay
Yeah.
for extra support, or
Right.
maybe your kid has a therapist. Maybe you have one, right? Like, we have a financial planner. We have
Yeah.
a decorator.
Yeah.
And then for some reason, we think we should just be able to
Figure it out.
self-navigate
Yes.
this like transition.
Yes.
Or
Our
ignore
hormones,
it.
our digestion. I should just buy this bloating supplement and it should work and not get support.
Speaking of supplements, there's so much out there and it's overwhelming. And I'm guessing that 90% of it is marketing crap.
I would say 95%, 99. Yeah.
99. And so what are we supposed to do with that? And, all this stuff pops up on your Instagram reels.
Yes.
And buy this, buy that. And I've been a sucker. My hair's getting thinner, which is not great since I hardly have any anyway. But I'm like, let me buy these $100 gummies that I'm sure are not helping.
Right. And people, could be hesitant to spend money on a Dutch test or to work with a dietitian or a practitioner like myself who can help figure that out. And next thing you know, you've spent $1,000 on hair supplements and don't really know if they're working or not because you don't have the system to figure out if it's treating what's broken. So there's yes, everyone should
They're
know.
not
There's
FDA
there's
regulated.
no regulation. My biggest thing is don't buy supplements off Amazon. I mean, even when they come from the producers, there can be issues there. So
good to know.
Yeah, do not.
Certainly go through a better, distributor, and then B, work with someone. It's worth the money in the end to like get someone like a functional doctor or myself or my partner who can help you figure out like what's going to help your hair thinning. Is like, where's that coming from? And like, how do we actually
I'm assuming
solve
you're
that?
not going to tell me Diet Coke, red wine, or cheese and crackers. Okay.
Not for sure.
Okay.
But the thing about working with somebody that is detrimental is like B vitamins. People would always people are always like, gotta have all these B's. If I took like the B vitamin mix, right, that has them all, I feel terrible. I also can't take folate. I have to take folinic acid, which I learned from studying connective tissue disorders.
Okay.
And so this
She's
is like
really in the weeds.
You are nerd.
But I've done this for
I love
years.
it. I know,
It's
that's your thing.
It is.
Yeah. which folate is the better form, right? So most people I have start with folate
Mhm.
instead of folic acid, which we all took when we were pregnant.
Yep.
And now we recognize there's some better options. And then some people like yourself
I have to
need
have
that extra
folinic.
layer. But that's where working with someone, it's just so much faster. Not only is it
Yes.
more affordable, but like they can help you know, like, what are you looking for? Is this normal? Is this not? Like,
Right.
I would be like, actually, you shouldn't notice that about your hair. I think a lot of times with all this perimenopause fluff, we're like, oh, well, this isn't just midlife. Like, this is what is supposed to happen. And
working with someone, you lay it out. I don't have to go in and do the research. I don't have time to do the research.
that's right. That's right.
I'm getting my research at 11:30 at night, flipping
Scrolling,
through.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is then
And
start making the whole system worse.
yeah, exactly.
Right.
And there, so are there any supplements that you recommend in general? I know there's something different for everything,
Yeah.
but is there a certain brand? Is there a certain supplement that
I love supplements. I will say that. But I'm always really careful. One, anytime I work with someone, we're going to do like a full body assessment because we can get really, I think, of weight centric, right? Like, so like if someone can't lose weight, like they are trying to lose weight at all costs, and we can do some stupid shit to try to lose weight. And then we ignore all these other symptoms. And so same thing with supplements. If someone starts taking a supplement, I want to know, what are you feeling? What are you noticing? And there might be a million other things. So like, I can't always tell you, I don't know, it felt crazy, but I also had 6 other things happening in a snowstorm coming.
Yeah.
But do you have someone that's looking at the whole system, right? So that would be the first thing with supplements. And then the second thing, even with people I work with, I have to reiterate this over and over. It's like, please don't start more than one at one time. Like start one supplement at a time.
Because then you won't be able to tell what's doing what.
Even if
Yep.
it's nothing, I tell my clients, like, I don't care if it's like your right toe starts hurting. Message me. Like, let me know. I have direct communication with my clients to be able to say, yeah, I like that. Or no, keep going. That's
You're
fine.
going to end up
kind of thing.
blocking me. I'm going to be like, Kathryn, my eye is twitching and I am having a bad
I
day.
love it though, because then I know you're paying attention, right? But back to your question. So, I mean, those would be my no-brainers for supplements. I love magnesium. I love magnesium glycinate in particular. And I think that's a pretty safe one for anyone out there. It's also a pretty safe one to like buy off the counter at Whole Foods. Like there's not a lot of like.
And what does
crap.
this do? What do we need
Helps
that
you
for?
sleep.
So it helps your nervous system. It helps calm everything down. It helps you sleep. It helps your gut lining. It helps you poop better. It's not going to do all these things on its own, right? There's no supplement that's going to out supplement our chaos, right? You got to be doing everything. But I do think that is one that I generally use. I love B vitamins. I love probiotics when used appropriately. But again, and there's some gut supplements that can make a huge difference. I mean, how many of us feel terrible when we're bloated? I mean, I could have everything else in my body working well, but if I feel bloated, I'm like, what do I want to eat? Am I hungry? I don't know. Am I losing weight? Right? People get so stuck with that. So doing, stool testing and supporting the digestive health, which we often do with supplements, help.
Now, tell me this. This might be a dumb question. So the poop test, like, how do you tell, like, what if it's just based on what that person had been eating over the last few days? Or, like,
Yes.
do I need to do a cleanse before I send you my poop?
No.
Like,
And the
how
other
can you
question I
tell
get
the
is, are
history?
you looking at my poop? I'm like, no.
The lab.
I'm not looking at your poop.
It's a lab.
Although, if anyone's kids like hate talking about poop more, it's mine. They're like, no. We've got it. We've got it, Mom. Sorry to my children. But no, so none of that is necessary because it uses PCR technology. So remember back when we all, I tried
COVID,
it, like,
PCR
right?
test.
We all block that from our brains.
Yeah.
But that is the type of technology they use to test. So when we're looking at your stool, we're looking for the detection of these organisms. So we're not so much looking for like, is there lactose in your stool or whatever you're thinking of, right? I'm looking more for what's the level of bacteria? Are there a lot of beneficial bacteria? Is there a lot of harmful or opportunistic bacteria that can cause bloating and gas? And here you are trying to eliminate dairy when we might actually just need to treat this overgrowth that's happening here. Or is your gut lining really irritated? And that's why suddenly you can't tolerate wine or all these other foods that are causing problems. So it gives us a lot of very strategic points to then improve your gut health.
This protein rage, a lot of the girls want to know, how important is it?
Yeah.
How much are you really supposed to be eating? And does it need to be paired with fiber, or is fiber more important? Like, where are we supposed to be living?
So, y'all, pick a year. We could all go back to like, is it acai berries? Is it chia seeds? Is it protein? Is it fat? Right? We love as a culture to latch on to something, and it's usually something that's really good and something that's really bad, right? So yes, I think protein is incredibly helpful. I like this trend. I
Okay.
do. I mean, I think it's a lot better than some of the others that have been so nitty gritty that they're just kind of like, really, are we really going to call out that food when there's all these other kale, right? Like,
Yeah.
sure, kale is great, but there's lots of other foods that give us that benefit. So protein is a great trend. But no surprise, it's been way overdone. No, you do not need to be drinking like water with protein in it and all these other things, assuming you're eating a good balanced diet. So
Okay.
I think what I would say to that is like, I would have someone go back to the foundations. Like, are you eating 3 meals a day is more important to me than whether or not they're eating protein.
Okay.
Because I guarantee you, if I tell someone to stop and breathe,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how many of us haven't taken a breath today?
I know.
Like, it's the first time today, and put your feet on the floor and make a meal and sit down to eat it. First of all, you'd be like, no way in hell is that going to happen every day. But you would look at your plate and be like, probably should be getting some more protein. And I probably am not getting any vegetables, right? So, like, I think we get in the weeds with something even like protein when we might just need to be focusing on like eating right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
all of us come from a culture of like, you name it. We could name like 17 different diets right
Oh,
now
for
between the
sure.
three of us that like
Yeah.
that our moms were doing when we were
Yeah.
5.
Oh,
that,
yeah.
that
Yes.
we have siblings or
Do you remember
friends or
Slim
something.
Fast?
Slim Fast, all the way to like the Zone diet got really
Oh, the
popular.
Zone.
So
Atkins?
especially like
Atkins, yeah.
the mid-40s woman, like she is afraid of fat, she's afraid of sugar, she's afraid of carbs, she's afraid of everything because there's been so many diet like trends in our life. So I guess I would say like start with like eating meals first. Second, protein. Yes, protein and fiber and hydration are my absolute like musts, right?
So protein at every meal?
I would say protein at every meal, and here's why. So 1, we just talked about we're losing muscle. 2, we are becoming less and less sensitive to insulin, which makes our blood sugar bounce all over the place.
Right.
Okay.
We're also all way overscheduled and overstressed, and we can all agree with that, right? Like that is not. And so if I were going to
Yep.
tell you, like, if I just bring up the word stress, it stresses us out. We're like, I don't want to talk about my stress, right? So like I talk about nervous system instead of stress for that reason.
Mhm.
But when you are stressed, your body is then releasing blood sugar into your system, right? So that's
Hell,
why
mine's the
like our heart rate gets higher, right? When I'm anxious, and that is in part due to my blood sugar going up, and then that's causing more issues. So protein helps stabilize your blood sugar. So
Okay.
muscle, blood sugar, those would be the biggest things that I think, yes, protein at every meal. And honestly, it depends on where someone's starting. If they weren't
Okay.
getting any protein, I'd be like, let's make sure you have a solid source. I do prefer animal seafood proteins, including dairy for most people, but let's start with that. And
Mhm.
then we build the quantity.
Okay.
So for most of my clients that are looking for body composition changes and optimal health, we're looking at around 30 grams a meal. It's not a small amount.
Yeah, that's a lot.
But I'm
I
not
am
going to
failing.
start with someone that's not getting any and say, go get 30 grams.
Even if they're not working out, they should still, you think, do that?
I do. Now, depending on genetics and your gut health, right? If
Yeah.
your gut health is shitty, then we got to work on that before you're going to be able to tolerate.
Okay.
God, I'm
protein,
the
right?
biggest work
So
in progress.
it always comes back to like, what is the smallest thing she said that I could do every day?
Eat.
Right? And
Meals.
if that's like eat meals, start there. Get good at that. And then I'll help you get your meals
And
better.
I'm assuming that when I run to my little kitchen in my
Uh-huh.
office and get a lean cuisine, that is not.
We're not really going to count that. I mean, it's better than nothing if that's our go-to now. But so I would say even with your lean cuisine, can you sit down and eat it with a fork and not consume it as you're running in the carpool line?
I mean, maybe. Okay, I'm
You
gonna.
don't, none of us want that answer, but
No.
It's
that
so
is
true.
to me
It's-
better than like grabbing
yeah.
a protein water,
Yeah.
right? Because you're not creating the habit with
Right.
that. Like the foundation is the practice of eating a whole food meal.
Yeah.
That's what I need people to do more of.
Well, and I like that you say that because the intermittent fasting,
Mhm.
that was
Yeah.
one thing after all my blood work. When I started with my functional medicine doctor, she goes, not you. And she said, you are already spiked, you're inflamed. It's too much stress on your body.
Yeah.
You are actually stressing it out even more. And I do think there's a lot of women out there who are doing that. And they're doing it thinking they're doing a really good
Right.
thing. And they're actually putting so much more stress on their body without
Absolutely.
realizing
Yeah.
it.
Do you recommend intermittent fasting? Or
You
not?
know, it can be helpful in certain situations, and there are some women that can tolerate it without it causing negative side effects. Usually they're older women. I think like postmenopausal women can handle intermittent fasting better than someone our age or in the perimenopause or even early menopause transition, but I'm not a fan. In part, I always use both science and practice, and anecdotally, I just don't see it work. It can help with gut health short term, like if someone is dealing with a lot of stuff, like, but then and I'm just looking at like, are you getting a 12-hour fast? So when we talk about fasting, there's no surprise. Just start with, do I get 12 hours between the last thing I eat or drink at night to the first thing that I eat or drink the next morning, and try to get that to 12 hours and see how that feels. Because for some people, that's enough of a fast and a great amount. And then we would go play around with other things. But I don't find fasting or longer fasts than 12 or 14 hours to work for most women because of that stress piece. If there is a question, bring it back to the nervous system. I mean, even down to the extent of, should I buy organic blank? I'm standing in the store and I don't know which of these chickens to buy. Like, which one is going to stress you out the least? Buy that. And I guarantee you that if we can take your stress down a notch, that is going to be a bigger jump up for your health than you buying organic chicken once or never. I think so often we get crippled by this idea that there's a right or a wrong, a good or a bad, and then we eat crappy and now we feel bad, and it's that whole cycle.
It's mental, right?
It is
it's
a lot of
such a
mental
mental stuff. Oh,
versus just being like, what's the option that's going to not stress me out right now and make me feel good? A both and, right? Like, could I do the lean cuisine and have some baby carrots on the side? Like,
I
maybe
need,
that's a good option, right?
I
Like,
need
what
to
could you
add
do?
in some vegetables and
One,
fruits.
that's right. What's one thing you could add that wouldn't stress you out, but allow you to still have that quick?
Can I dip them in ranch?
Sure.
Yeah, if you're
Absolutely.
going to eat them. I mean, I don't like fruit, maybe an apple, but I don't love fruit. I never have really loved it, but I will have a fruit smoothie to make sure I'm
Good.
getting fruit.
Well, and that's when you talk about fibers, we talked about protein a little bit.
Mhm.
And fiber is, thankfully, it's been around for a long time. This isn't new, right?
Yeah.
And it kind of went out of style because of the low carb craze. So
Mhm.
I do see women that just getting their fiber up helps them get their carbs up, right? So if we get too much protein, carbs, we turn it into glucose, right? Now, that's not everyone, but like, it's actually not any better for you in some ways.
Right.
You could argue it could be, but all this to say, again, it's that isolation. Like, I'm just going to go in all in on the protein, and you need the carbs too. So I love focusing on fiber because it brings the carbs back in, the ones that are higher in fiber for that purpose. So fiber is going to help move things through your gut. Your gut gets slower. We all
Yeah.
know that, right? Estrogen, again, helps move things through our digestive tract. So again, part of aging and partly due to these changing hormones, we have lots of changes that happen in our gut, and the fiber is going to help there.
So so if someone comes to you, help us figure this out. They'll
I
She
love
likes
how
the
she's
poop
stuck.
test.
She likes the poop. Kathryne's stuck on the poop.
could you do my poop test today, please?
I
Okay.
didn't bring a kit, but I'll mail you one.
You can take it to the next basketball
right.
game
I'll just
And
bring it to Brock.
and throw it at me in the
That's
stands and be like, "Here's your
one
poop
for
kit."
you and one for you.
Everyone gets a poop test.
Everyone gets a
One of
poop
his
test.
favorite things.
So we come to you, and everybody's got different goals or different things they want to focus on: food, nutrition, stress. Well, you analyze each person's, then you come up with a plan. And then is it maintenance with you, and they check in with you every week? Well,
Yeah.
if we come to you, how is
Yeah.
this going to work?
I have a partner that works she sees a lot of different age groups. Like, we see teens, we see young adults. She loves fertility. For my perimenopausal women, I have a little bit of a different setup, and you might hate it, but there's a reason, which is that I ask people to commit to an 8-month time period. And part of that reminds them that this is a transition, that I cannot help you solve all your health problems in 1 month. And I have too many people that have come to me over the years, like, wanting to put out fires and just be like, can you I need this right? And it's like urgent, and you name it. Is it GI issues? Is it weight? Is it hormones? I like that just mental commitment to like a longer time frame where they recognize it's not going to be overnight. It also allows me, I mean, think about our lives, like our lives this weekend versus our lives in July. That is totally different. Like,
That's right.
the things that stress me out, the things that I have access to, the amount that I'm drinking, like, these are all extremely different. So I didn't expect it at all, but have loved being able to work with women through different seasons. And it allows me to do these tests over time. So instead of you taking a million supplements all at once to like fix everything, I can actually do it strategically. I can help. We do a stool test first, and we solve so that all of a sudden now you're not bloated, and now you can recognize your hunger cues a little better, and you can tell when your weight is changing. It's not just bloat. And then we look at hormones and we work on that. And meanwhile, we're working on the nervous system the whole time. So it's a little bit of a dance. There's a big strategy to all.
Well, and I think that you just hit the nail on the head. I mean, it takes time to see changes and to see differences. And I'm guilty of I want a quick fix if something's wrong. I'm
Right.
like, wham, bam,
Yeah,
thank you, ma'am.
we all do.
And then I don't stick to it, right?
right.
So I
Yeah.
do like that. Okay, so an 8-month commitment.
And I would push you to go slower than you want to, right? I'm like, no, you can't give up your Diet Coke. Because if I make you give up your Diet Coke, guess what you're going to want in 3 weeks when you're all of a sudden low dopamine and low serotonin? You're going to
Yep.
want your Diet
Diet
Coke,
Coke.
right?
You're going to
So
see me sneaking a
I'm
Diet
gonna
Coke at the
keep-
broad game. I'm
Keep
like,
these things
Yeah.
in so that you actually stick to it, but maybe we change the frequency or we change the amount you have, right? Maybe, like, so it's baby steps so that you can actually stick to it.
I like that. Gradual.
Yeah.
Don't be jerking it away from here. I'll be like,
I'm not, I promise.
Well, and you think
The
about
same way you couldn't take my margarita away from me on Friday night. I'll get there one day.
right. Not now, not
Yeah.
now. Okay. So then do people stay with you maintenance after that typically?
Yeah. So
I bet they love
forever.
you.
It's
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
And I
That's like
love
you
it.
have to.
Yeah.
It's a forever. It's a forever thing.
And I use insurance for part of the cost, which is huge. Some of us have insurance that cover like 100%. So it wouldn't cover that initially for some of the testing and extra support, but then ongoing, my clients can oftentimes like year 2, 3, 4, it could be fully insurance based.
I love
at
that.
point.
Okay, good.
So it is more of a like upfront cost to get through some of those tests and the more intensive support. And
Yeah.
then I try to use insurance as much as I can on the back end for just that maintenance phase. So that's.
And one other thing I just thought about for snacking, do you have hey, keep this with you in the car? For middle-aged women, do you say, hey, try this? This will help you in all areas. Any good snacks you can recommend?
I go back to always trying to have people eat enough at their meals that they need snacks less. But realistically, like if I eat lunch at noon and then, I mean, these days I get home from a basketball game at 8, which is not ideal, but that's when I'm eating dinner. Then
Yep.
I need a snack in there. It's funny though, in the car, still not ideal. So one of my favorite, well, 2 things. One, I say never have a naked carb. It's an easy one to remember.
Never have
Always try to
okay.
pair a carbohydrate, whether it's a glass of wine, an apple, Cheez-Its from your kid's lunch, with some protein. So that could be jerky, that could be yogurt, cottage cheese, deli meat. People are afraid of deli meat, but then they'll eat all the chicken sausage in the world. So you figure out what are those protein sources
Okay.
that will help balance your carbs that you can have around is a good way to think of it. Even
Okay.
some of those, if someone can tolerate whey protein, a shake would be a great option. Some of the dairy products that are out there. So there's a number of
So
options.
don't pull through Wendy's and get a junior bacon cheeseburger and a large
Well,
fry.
like the bacon cheeseburger, maybe on its own without the
Without the-
fries, right? Like,
Yeah.
and again, sometimes
Baby
that's where the
steps.
myth busting, but you'd be surprised. We can feel guilty. Y'all would feel guilty about 2 totally different things. Like I have one client who's going to feel guilty about the fact that her chicken wasn't organic. Someone's going to feel guilty about pizza. Someone else is going to be like, no, pizza's fine as long as I eat it this way. And then you're going to feel guilty. Like it's amazing. And it's
different.
all made up.
Yeah.
It's all,
Yeah.
it's all
Yeah.
like based
I
on
love that.
whichever diet we
Yeah.
were raised hearing.
That is crazy.
And I mean, there's some truth to some of it, right? But it's amazing how much harder we make it on ourselves because we
Right.
feel guilty. So again, that's why like having an expert to be like, yeah, well, let's figure out how to make that bacon cheeseburger work for you, not
And do
or
not
like
get the
what can
fries.
I get at a drive-through?
Yeah.
I mean, that's reality is we
That
gotta have
list,
those
yeah.
options.
Yeah. So like you said, leaving a game at 8:00, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I could go home and try to make something, but Austin's like, take me to Char
But then
Grill.
you eat at 9, right? So like
Yeah.
there's absolutely things that we need to figure out that are going to work for us. So that
And
is
it's all
definitely-
individual.
Yeah.
And I think with our busy life, like you said, having someone lay that out and
Yeah.
give you tips, that
Yeah.
for me, that would be super helpful.
Well,
Yeah.
and learning your body is so important because that is really the key, I think, for everyone is that we are so focused outwards
Mhm.
and I'm guilty of taking in all of this information
Yeah.
and trying to make it fit and trying to do what they did because they feel better and they're healthy. But my body doesn't work like that,
Right.
Yeah.
you know?
What about blood work?
Blood
you
work
d-
can be great. And I mean, the argument against testing in general, but especially when it comes to hormones, and if we were talking about blood work for hormones, is that they change. They're fluctuating wildly, and they are. So there is some downside to testing because we don't know, is this your high? Is this your low? I still love to do it because it's validating. Like, okay, my cortisol is actually not that high, or it is out
Right.
of whack, or some of these things that can really help us. And then 9 times out of 10, even more than that, we get great results supporting what we find on these tests. So it does give us a more personalized way to support a woman. But I would say blood work plus some of these more functional tests is a great way to go. And then recognizing that it's not the whole story. So if someone were like, I don't know if I can work with her yet, I would just say start paying attention. You said learning your body, like,
Yeah.
why did you not pay attention? And
Mhm.
even just use an app, use a journal, use a notepad in your kitchen. If you just start noticing, like, God, I'm tired this afternoon. Where am I in my cycle? Did I sleep last night? What did I eat for lunch? Does it make a difference when I eat char grill versus when I eat at home, right? Just start by noticing. And you might be surprised to see, like, guess what? Every time I have a sandwich for lunch, I have a harder time focusing than when I have a soup.
That's so true. And I just do not do that. Okay.
No, and that takes time. That's why I can help faster. But if someone wanted to like going on their own, rather than trying to solve everything, I would be like, take a step back. I mean, you've obviously done this for years. And then you are probably so good at recognizing something doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
And this is off. And therefore, when I start that supplement, I quickly notice, like,
Oh, yeah.
this isn't right.
Yes. There are some that are supposed to be amazing. And I
Yeah.
was taking them and I'm going to have a heart attack.
Yeah.
Or I'm super anxious. Or my joints are killing me.
Do you do virtual and in person?
I do all virtual.
Okay.
So that makes it really easy. I see people around the country too, which is fun. Yeah. So all virtual. And then I do weave in a little bit, I have a library of resources for women because I really love helping women understand like I said, what's going on. I think it's just so helpful for me to know I'm not broken. This is a transition. These things are adapting.
normal. We're
How do I
normal,
support
right?
it? I mean, would hormones make sense? Would testing make sense? Right. So I have lots of behind the scenes support for clients to like learn.
I bet it's so rewarding to see someone needing a lot of help.
Yeah.
All of a sudden be like, oh my God, she has really made progress.
Yeah.
So this is
Yeah.
what I love because this goes back to the nervous system
Mhm.
too, because this is something else that recently I've been trying to study as well. The more that we're focused on all the things, the more our nervous system is alarmed by all the things.
Yeah.
And so you keep saying how you're like so messed up. You are probably 10 times more healthy
Then a
than
lot of us.
I
I agree.
Really?
Right?
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. You'd be surprised the things that would.
Well, I'm going to have me a cheeseburger and some red wine tonight, people.
That's right, because there's no stress about it.
And you're not so fearful over it. Like the
Exactly.
woman who is afraid, that's where like the things we're afraid of are going to work worse in our bodies.
It's going to hurt us so
Then-
bad. Well, I've got stress in other ways, I can tell you.
Well, I'm
but
sure
I know.
we all have things.
That's right.
But
I know, but
You're
I
right.
definitely need to be more cognizant of what I put in my body. I've never been great about that. But I will need you to lead me along the way.
yeah, it's not, and it's a little different for everyone. There's some general themes, but that's where I love the puzzle pieces of like figuring out like, do we need to stop you from spending hours looking at your methylation report at night?
Yeah.
And
I don't even know what that
instead, Like,
is.
have some
Yeah.
support to like,
Yeah.
I'm like functioning fine without
Yeah.
needing to know more.
Yeah.
So that's where the blood work can become too much. People can get obsessed with the
Right.
data, and I have to cut them off, like Kate, and be like, okay, let's go back to like what's working in your body
Yeah.
and what do you feel?
What kind of report are you talking about? What is that?
Genetic. She's
Oh.
talking about genes. So
Yeah.
like looking at your genes to figure out, and it can be great and useful for some people, but it's in the weeds.
It's a lot.
It's in the weeds. I actually am shocked how much I find it fascinating.
Yeah,
I actually
it's
really
fun.
enjoy how this all works, and the body is
Body's
unbelievable.
amazing.
It's
really
amazing.
is.
It
I
really
do.
is.
And I feel like, I mean, I sound like a broken record, but we're getting more and more, like learning more regularly about all of this, and finally with some women as subjects of the studies and the brain research about women and menopause. And so it feels like we're falling apart, right? But what they're showing is new areas of your brain actually start lighting up when you go through menopause. So you have like higher concentration of estrogen receptors in some places that didn't exist before. There's some, we don't exactly understand it yet, but there's basically some cool new things happening. And like, how many of us feel like we don't give a shit anymore? Like there's some
Yeah.
benefits. We always talk about focus on the stuff that feels crappy in our bodies, but there are some cool changes happening.
It's so true about all the changes.
Oh.
So we will link her information. She is awesome and obviously very knowledgeable, has a ton of information. And if you want to do it with some sort of genetic testing, call Kate and she can give you all of the scoop on that.
I'm going to learn it all.
And if you don't want to feel guilty about cheeseburgers and bacon and wine, you call me. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks
for coming.
Yeah,
You're awesome.
This was awesome.
You really are making me think. I got to get my life in order.
We're trying to get you to not feel that way.
That's right.
Okay.
Well, and I'm like, your life is in order. It is.
Yeah.
Oh, anyway.
It is.
All right. Stay healthy and
That's right.
sit down and eat. All right. Thanks, guys. Okay. We hope you enjoyed today and you got a lot of good information. I did.
I did too. I absolutely enjoyed having Kathryn here. I'd never met her, so this was exciting. She seems fantastic, thorough, definitely knows what she's doing. If you are struggling with perimenopause or cortisol belly or hormones or just not feeling your best, I highly suggest reaching out and having her help you reach optimal health.
You know, we invest in so many other things in life and we just sometimes don't invest in this, and it's our life. We want to live as long as we can. But she is super informative and intelligent. So definitely reach out to her. And thank you for joining us. Stay reckless.
I know, but you didn't even say it last time.
I forgot.
She did, but that's okay.
All right, Raleigh peeps. Stay rooted and a little reckless.
See you next time.
Bye. God, did that hurt?